Hello guys, welcome to another one of our Fight Night videos. Here I'm going to do a little bit of a guide on Muhammad Ali, a little bit of a spotlight, just to show you how I fight him, and not just Muhammad Ali, but just fighters in general that, are the sort of build and style of Muhammad Ali. So, just a little quick starter here. As you can see, I just stand in the middle of the ring with Mike Tyson. You'd think I'm going to get absolutely knocked out, just sort of standing there against Mike Tyson, not moving. But as you'll see, as long as you sort of beat them to the punch, you'll find that Muhammad Ali is a really, really powerful character. It's just more about timing and not wearing yourself out, and just being aware of what you can do, and that is a prime example of what you can do. It's just a pure knockout with an uppercut, and you have to be aware of what sort of tools you've got when you're using Ali. So basically, your power straight to the head is immensely strong, your straight to the body is immensely strong, your jab is great, your uppercuts are also fantastic. So bearing that in mind, you can keep people at a distance with your jabs and straights. When they do get close, slip a couple of them uppercuts in there, and they won't be close for very long. So, I'm against Tyson. He's a really hard character to beat if you're Muhammad Ali, if the person knows how to play Mike Tyson. You'll find that with this guy, he tends to throw a lot of power straights, if I remember right. But you can always counter that with side steps, uppercuts, and to be honest with you, power straights from yourself, because power straights from Muhammad Ali are obviously a longer range and probably more powerful than Mike Tyson. So if he's throwing power straights like he is now, you can see he's doing a lot of damage to me. You can throw them back and sort of get your own back on him. As you can see, it is round one, and round one against Tyson, you're almost guaranteed to get injured quite a lot. I'm just throwing power straights to sort of keep him away, because I know for a fact that he's using more health than I am, he's using more stamina than I am. So I'm just we're getting close to sort of tempt him to throw them power straights and then try and get out of the way of him, just so that he sort of spends his stamina and ends up weaker late in the fight. It does backfire for me a little bit, especially at this point. He catches me quite a lot, and what can you do? He's obviously got a shorter reach. He's obviously timed me quite well, and credit to him. But he is just doing the same move over and over again, which obviously ain't great. But you can see I'm sort of taking my time to sort of get some straights on that body, just because, one, if you do get straights on that body, you're roughly at a distance that he can't hit you, contrary to what you've just seen. But you can sort of get them in the body and get out of there before they can retaliate, because you've got such a long reach. And obviously try and make sure that you do land all of your punches when you're Muhammad Ali. You don't want to be missing a lot, because you do want to maintain that stamina throughout the fight. You want to be playing Muhammad Ali as more of a sim fighter. By that I mean you want to be playing as though you sort of are the sort of boxer. You want to be mixing up your punches, doing a bunch of different things. You don't want to just continue doing the same move, because Muhammad Ali is quite weak when he just spams one punch. He's quite easy to hit to the body, and he's very, very weak to body shots, I've found personally. So basically this is round two. It's much of the same. I'm just trying to sort of keep him at bay, trying to sort of stay away from them power shots, but I'm aware that them power shots are probably taking more off his stamina than they are off my health. It's just the way that Mike Tyson is. He's a very sort of stamina expensive character, if you will. He doesn't take much to drop his stamina, so I'm quite happy for him to just keep throwing the same punch, because I can just get out of there and hopefully he'll keep throwing them like he is there. So he's obviously weakening himself quite a lot. He knows that they were catching me. I'm not quite sure why they were catching me so much. I think I was just being careless and being too close, and he was just timing me really well, which obviously is credit to him. You can't be on your A game every time. So this guy, I'm making him come after me. I don't want to be chasing him down. I want him to think I'm much weaker than I am. He's just trying to leap on me now. You see, he's just trying to, spam them straights. But these are prime examples for me to just get them jab straights off, keep him at a distance, whilst, doing a lot of damage to him. I've got no intentions of knocking this guy out before, round 3 or 4. It's just the way it is when you're fighting Mike Tyson. But this guy, he just fell straight into the trap and spent too much stamina, and I jumped on him at the right time. So this is round 3. he's obviously spent a lot more stamina than I have, and I think he's aware of that now, so he's just trying to sort of get me out of there fast. But I'm not going to fall for that. I'm not going to let him try and take me out with one hit. He catches me with a good shot there, but not enough to sort of put me on stun, and it actually helps me more than it helps him, because he's obviously thinks I'm really weak now. He's obviously caught me with that stun, and then you can sort of put a combination together like that, and you know, he's just not going to stand up to it. So basically, if you're Muhammad Ali, it's all about keeping away from them, making them spend their stamina, keeping them at a distance, and just throwing them jab straights when you can, and uppercuts if they get close. I haven't used uppercuts on this character against this player at the moment. I'm sort of saving them for later on in the fight. I don't want him to get accustomed to me throwing uppercuts, because then he's going to get aware of them and then be ready to dodge them later in the fight. So I'm just sort of withholding that. But as you can see, he sort of goes down there and I don't get a chance to use my uppercut, which is a really powerful tool with Ali, and you want to be saving it until the later rounds when they're not expecting it, and then you can catch them with a couple of them whilst you've got full stamina. Anyway, we're moving on to another great fight. This is round 2 against Roy Jones Jr. I can't remember why I skipped the first round. I think it was just a lot of just running around and him chasing me and me chasing him and not much going down, so nobody wants to see that. So basically what's going on is we're both really good counter punchers, and I think throughout this fight you'll sort of see Muhammad Ali's sort of style when it comes to counter punching, as opposed to just keeping people at bay. So this is sort of another side of Muhammad Ali's sort of arsenal, if you will. So as you can see, Roy Jones Jr., he's a counter puncher as well. I'm sure everyone's aware of that, and obviously I'm aware of that, so I don't want to be throwing too many punches at him because he's going to be able to counter me, and he knows I'm a counter puncher, so he doesn't want to throw too many at me. So it's a bit of a stalemate at points in this fight. But what you got to be aware of is when you're Ali, is that you can always throw them jabs and they'll pretty much always get through, and you can throw them jabs, follow them up with straights and uppercuts and hooks and what have you, and you know, they tend to be more powerful than fighters like Roy Jones Jr., and they tend to get through, sort of as you saw there. It gets through his guard much easier than he gets through your guard. One, because you're, you know, a bit taller and a bit stronger with more weight, and second of all, you know, obviously he's a light heavyweight, and he just hasn't got as much accuracy in his punches or as much power. So this is sort of a standard fight really when you're Ali against Roy Jones Jr. I do feel as though I've got an advantage in this fight, although I have been on the opposite side of the score, on the opposite side of the tape, and I've been Roy Jones and I've beaten Ali, so it's certainly doable. You know, it's not too hard to do. He's just not taking enough time on his punches, and most of the time when you win fights on Fight Night, it's not because you're, you know, a better player per se with the character. It's more about how you read their game, if you can sort of pick up whether they're trying to pull you into a trap. And it tends to be sort of the smarter fighter wins, as opposed to, you know, the one that knows the most moves or the most combinations or anything like that, because the combinations you can learn in a day, you know, the punches you can learn in 10 minutes. It's more about how to manage your stamina and manage your health, and, you know, it's almost like a game of chess in a way. You don't want to be using all your powerful moves at the start. You want to save them for a time when they're not expecting it, and it's sort of like what I'm doing here. I'm going forward, just letting him throw a lot of punches, but at the same time I'm not wasting a lot of my stamina. I'm just throwing the odd punch close up and trying to go to his body just to slow him down a little bit, and that will result later on in the fight of him not being able to keep up and not being able to, you know, keep up with the pace, and as a result I should be able to get the knockout. As people are aware, I do always go for the knockout on this game. I do not go for point wins, much to my sort of disadvantage sometimes, especially on World Championship when people are just going for the point win and I'm going for the knockout. But obviously on Fight Now, usually people are, you know, willing to trade with you, and you know, I just don't find it enjoyable game for point wins. It's not, you know, I respect the fighters that do, don't get me wrong, but I just don't like the idea of sitting for, you know, 30-40 minutes just to get, you know, a point win, which is really quite indecisive really, because you can win a points decision just by, you know, running away and throwing a couple of punches. It's not really fair. So As you can see, I sort of always play to the knockout, and if you're Ali and you're playing for the knockout, your general goal is to tire them out and then get the knockout at the end. Even though you do have the power to completely knock someone out off the cuff, it's not advised, because if you do end up wasting too much of your stamina as Ali is basically your power. If you haven't got stamina as Ali, you're completely useless. And if you're fighting against Ali, you want to be taking that body, you want to crush that body and stop him from being so fast and so powerful and so slick. Really, you want to make sure he slows him down. So I'm just trying my best to not allow him get to my body, even though he was getting to me a bit there on the ropes, but then I just throw some uppercuts in that we mentioned earlier, and that should keep him at bay, because they've got to be hurting him. As you can see, I've won all 3 rounds, which is great. Obviously, that to me indicates one of two things. It either indicates that I'm throwing way too many punches and winning the rounds and he's further ahead on stamina, or it means that, you know, I've just been getting the better of him in all sort of scuffles, and or the majority of the scuffles, and, you know, obviously I'm leading towards a win. So again, if you are winning by points, don't always assume that you're winning the fight, because you could be, you know, really low on stamina and he could be really high, and he's been letting you win so that you get your stamina down and gain confidence, and then he takes you out at the end. So you want to be wary of that if you're ever in that situation where, you know, you feel as though you've wasted too much stamina just to get the win. You know, you sort of adjust next time and make sure, you know, if you have to give them a couple of rounds to keep your stamina, then don't be scared to do that if you're anything like me and just go for knockouts. But anyway, as you can see, it's more of the same. Again, it's a little bit of a stalemate because these two fighters are very, very similar. But what you want to be careful of is, like I said before, don't just get in the habit of throwing the same punch. As you can see, I'm sort of mixing it up with uppercuts and jabs, and you know, I caught him with a good little combination there. And that's what you want to be using when you're Ali, is little combinations, little fast, speedy combinations which catch him off guard, and you know, that's what's going to get you the damage done, you know. So he's back up again. Jabbing to the head and straight to the body is a very, very effective tool to use when you're Ali, and if you're fighting a spammer, it's very, very, very useful to jab to the body and then straight to the head, like in a combination move. It's very, very very, very good if you do that. It works wonders. Luckily, I don't have to do that. This guy is, to all of his credit, he's you know, he's not a spammer. He's you know, he's fighting legit, and I'm sure people can vouch for that. You know, he's not doing nothing weird. He's not just spamming anything. One of us is caught. I can't remember which one of us is actually cut, but as you can see, the blood on my trousers there. That's not good, or my shorts, should I say? So, more of the same, you know, just jabbing and straighting, and that's your sort of foundation when you're Ali. It's jabbing and straighting, and you don't want to get in the habit of spamming punches, like I said before, because you will literally just waste all your stamina. The odd time you'll win, you know, you'll catch him with a lucky shot and get him stunned and stuff like that, but, you know, if you get in the habit of doing it, you're not going to be very effective with him. You know, you're not going to be consistently effective. So this is like my 6th or 7th fight I've had with Ali in a row, and I haven't lost with him, and it's just been the same tactic over and over again. So you might be thinking, well, hold up, you know, Ali's a really, really overpowered character. So that's why for the remainder of the video I'm going to show you a fight where I'm on the opposite side, I'm Tyson and he's Ali, and we're going to just see, you know, how I'd handle Muhammad Ali if I'm against him. Now, I will say this isn't a very long fight by any stretch of the imagination, and I wish it was a longer fight so I could show you how it works down the road, how you weaken them, and then get the knockout later on. But with this, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for Ali to come in with the tactics that I'd expect him to use, which is just short bursts and then move away. So when he comes in for those short bursts, I'm just going to try and get some hits off and move away myself. So I'm trying to get them uppercuts in there, like as you saw there, caught him with a nice one. And I'm not trying to use too much stamina, because I know for a fact that he's probably playing to, you know, maintain the stamina as well. So when he does get close, I want to go to his body, and, you know, throw a few uppercuts to the head. But the main, you know, priority, the main goal is for me not to lose my stamina, because if I do, it's game over for for Mike Tyson, because he'll just jump on me. So I want to just wear his stamina down, and that's that. So I've got him in the corner now, and that's where you do not want to be if you're Ali, and that's why, you know, you will just get caught if you're Ali on the corner. So bear that in mind. If you're playing as Ali, as you rage quit there, if you're playing as Ali, you don't want to be stuck in the corners. You know, you want to be jabbing and straighting as much as possible and maintaining your stamina, and hopefully you should get your win, as long as you mix it up and don't spam. So thanks for watching, guys. Please stay tuned for the second part of the career mode. That'll be coming very soon. If there's any suggestions you guys would like to see, any characters you'd like me to play over, I can play as any of the characters. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.